Hello to all of you beautiful nerds and welcome back from Traveling to Vast Nerdy Universe. I am back. Ooh, I knew I forgot something. My brushes. I am back with the makeup story time about Omni Fandom Expo. Yay! Feels good to be back to do another one of these, and it's usually fun telling my stories on how I experience conventions as a visually impaired person trying to reach for my nice bigger makeup storage case here. Sorry about that. So not sure if you guys have been a long time subscriber here or just getting around here. Today's story time will be about a convention that we mostly had a lot of press videos from called Omni Fandom Expo. It's got a bit of a small pop culture-y type anime convention that we had for a while from 2014. I know their last one was 2021, which was around the time we went to Ranger Stop in Atlanta. So I'll be mentioning that, but I feel like telling about this because it was a great convention for what it is, even though they are small. But it was great for what it is, despite how people doubted smaller conventions would not make it. And I noticed that, but hey, let's get into it. So I'm using some makeup that I had for a while. I haven't used one palette that I bought a while back from BH Cosmetics, which is the beautiful in Barcelona palette. I haven't touched it, so finally I get a chance to use it. Don't worry, I bought a lot of these products, so yeah, because brands don't know me, they don't know who I am, so I am not sponsored. Haven't even been sponsored by anybody. Let's see, let me start off with my pomade. So, how did I hear about Omni Fandom Expo? Well, how we heard about it all together, because it was a long time ago. So, this was around the time when I started up Nerdy Chic Universe. It was on Blogspot without the universe part at first, and then I decided to move it over to WordPress because I figured it would be getting a bigger audience, and also since I had to create a e-portfolio for my minor at the time, I decided why not move it over, since WordPress is a lot more accessible when it came to using JAWS on it, which was true. It's still pretty accessible to this day, but I use it on my Chromebooks more because I notice how Chromebox interacts with it a little bit better, especially with Jetpack, which is how the main app is now using Jetpack. So I don't know why, but I guess it's one of those things. So now NerdyChicUniverse.com is now being posted through Jetpack. So don't worry, I am trying to do a post for that. I had not been doing that many posts due to being busy with work, and also trying to get myself with the certification. so I could be certified in the assistive technology field. So I am trying to do my best with posting there as I can, because I'm trying to do the what if it was an anime with the New Era online book series that I did finish not too long ago and reviewed. I'm trying to get back into doing book reviews, but back to the story. So during 2013, our first convention was to do press at was MetroCon, and that was a big experience for ourselves because it was all the way in Tampa. We always heard good things about MetroCon and how everybody that we knew at UCF and also back in Valencia, which was the school that I went to do my associate's degree, everybody went to that convention, and it felt good to be in a different place because, you know, it's been years since I've been back to Tampa, because the last time I was there was at Busch Gardens when I was in middle school, because my dad used to work for McDonald's and he got free passes to Anheuser-Busch parks. Because I remember it used to be a Wendy's thing and then it switched over to McDonald's. So we all went to Busch Gardens for a change instead of SeaWorld. But anyways, I'm putting on my Mac Pro paint pot and painterly since I hit bottom on soft ochre. I have not purchased anything from the semi-annual sale over on Ulta because it's boring right now. And I already have most of the stuff that they put on sale again. So I still have enough of these little paint pots in my collection. So I'm going through them first before I buy any more. But back to the story. But a new convention did pop up during 2013, and it was Mythicon. And it was being held closer to SeaWorld in Orlando at the DoubleTree. I think it was at the same location as Ranger Stop was, or it was a completely different one closer to SeaWorld. I think there are two DoubleTrees, but still, it was around that area. So then, heard words about another convention being made called Omni Fandom Expo that's supposed to start in 2014. I didn't know about the dates, but I kind of got them wrong. I kind of said June in my review post about Mythicon because I liked it, even though we weren't doing press for the first year. We went to get more of a feel for the convention, even though it only did 2013 and 2014. You could still watch the videos from the 2014 convention, as in our interviews with Eric Stewart, John Swayze, and Damian Clark. And also, it was the only convention that they had Linkara as a guest from Atop the Fourth Wall. You know, like, I wish Ranger Stop could have him as a guest because he does history of Power Rangers, and I brought his name up at 2015 when they saw my shirt that said "Make My Monsters Grow." So yeah, back to to the story, one thing about Orlando is that around this time, it was pretty much oversaturated with a lot of conventions. I mean, you had MegaCon, you had Anime Festival Orlando, also Florida Anime Experience was around at this time. Then, of course, you have Ranger Stop Orlando. Starting to get some speed on that because it used to be a toy convention from what I remembered with the history. So I'm going to the beautiful in Barcelona palette with the shade Picasso. But anyways, but one thing is that people kind of look down on some of the smaller conventions, because I remembered what was it at NitroCon, even though yes, it was a small convention as well, but I did remember an anime shop owner talk about how Orlando is very oversaturated and some of these smaller conventions can't make it, and these newer ones should not be around. But with how long Omni Fandom Expo was around, it did a pretty good job for how small it was. And during 2014's year, they started at the World Center Marriott, which, as you know, is one of, or shall I say, the biggest Marriott in the entire world. And a lot of conventions are held at this particular place. Heck, even ATIA moved to the World Center Marriott. And they're going to be back there next year. It's not a bad place to put it, because there are a lot of assistive technology companies out there for so many disabilities, and it is emerging. And I think it was a good idea to start off with a big location like they did because of the timing. During May, there were hardly any conventions during May, and it was great that they decided to hold it during Memorial Day weekend. And how we ended up with press during that year is that I accidentally put the wrong dates for the convention, and I ended up getting a comment from somebody with an email from Best Buy, which is apparently was one of the sponsors at the time. And I contacted them, and it happened to be the convention head for Omni Expo at the time, Mike. And Michael Bliss, who ran the convention for, I guess, the first 2 years from what I've heard. But I contacted him by email, said, I'm sorry, I don't know what I did. I'm not sure. I don't know what I did. Please don't, because at the time I was very anxious and everything. Like, my confidence was completely low at the time. And I was afraid that we had to end Nerdy Chic Universe due to taking this guy off. But no, the guy was like, no, you just got our dates wrong. We're going to be having it during Memorial Day weekend in 2014. By the way, I like your work. Do you want to do press for us? And I'm like, yes, I would like to. So this was like the first year that I did press alone, because RJ was working during that Memorial Day weekend, well, leading up to Memorial Day. So the dates were that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and also I graduated from UCF like weeks before, and also I ended up with a cold during that first year of Omni Fandom Expo. Yeah, that was bad to go with the cold, but I got through it. I mean, I liked the convention because it had, the first year had a very big guest list, actually. I mean, you had Ellen McLean, who did the voice of GLaDOS from the Portal games. You also had her husband. You also had Grant George and his wife Jessica there, because they remembered me from, well, Grant remembered me from Mythicon the year before, because he was also a guest. So, oh, yay. And I met his wife Jessica. Very nice couple. And that was also the time that Attack on Titan was becoming big. And they brought Matthew Mercer, also Kyle Hebert. Chris Patton was also a guest. Carrie Savage was another guest. Chris Sabat, that was a fun trying to get an interview with him all weekend. Which I was hoping to go only 2 days because I was not feeling well. I was surviving on NyQuil at night, and having Monster Javas in the morning, and also trying to drink some coffee to keep myself awake. But it was not helping. Well, it did kind of help to an extent, but by Sunday evening, when RJ had me stay over at his and his mom's place, I just hit the bed and slept in most of the day Monday, because I was not feeling well. And, well, let's see. I got to interview Matthew Mercer, the main three of Team 4 Star, Chris Patton, which you could only read these interviews, by the way, over on nerdychicuniverse.com. I'll definitely put in the blog link, which I did not always done. Sorry about that, guys. I'm usually posting these videos and done and out. And I should also put my Patreon down there, because I'm still trying to find a way of funding my books. Thank you very much. So, yeah. But anyways, so I interviewed a lot of people, and like I said, back to the whole entire, I wasn't feeling well. I only wanted to go for 2 days. But unfortunately, with Chris Sabat, his schedule was completely packed. So they told me to come back Sunday to interview him, and that's what I did. And consequences be damned, and I did end up passing out in RJ's place on his bed after dinner, because I was completely exhausted and didn't post anything until a few days later. And to tell you the truth, transcribing interviews was not that easy, especially how long Troy Baker's interview answers were during MetroCon 2014. Yeah, we did do that convention as well. So, yeah. We only did 3 conventions. Omni Fandom Expo, Metricon and Mythicon that entire year. And of course, I was also trying to find a job in between. But, yeah. The reason why I ended up with the cold was I went to go back to UCF for something in the career center, like an appointment with them, and how to build my resume and my cover letter. So they were giving me tips on that, and I guess something was in the air that caused me to get sick. I don't know what, but it did happen. So apparently with Mythicon, after Mythicon, the news was that they wouldn't be doing another year due to scheduling conflicts with the people who ran it. It's understandable because life does happen, but Omni Fandom Expo was going to have a second year due to how many people they drew out. Since also, I did forget to mention, during that same weekend, Florida Anime Experience was also happening. But some guy was at Omni, and I overheard him saying, yeah, the hallways were empty at Florida Anime Experience. And I asked him, wait, seriously? He said, yeah. I tried getting Ian Sinclair, who was one of the guests, at FAE, which he is a really good voice actor, by the way. He plays Space Dandy in, of course, the show Space Dandy. He's also the narrator in Kaguya Love is War, which is another funny anime. You guys should check it out on Crunchyroll, because it's up to season 3. Yay. So, yeah, they try to get him to come by because he did look up to Chris Sabat, and I guess he didn't come by. That would have been cool to meet him on the spot. But, oh. So, apparently the head of the convention even came by, Florida Anime Experience, by the way, and kind of got mad because of the guest list being a lot bigger than what you hope, what you've seen in their first year. They got pretty good guests, not gonna lie. I mean, the guests usually draw in the crowds, even though as time went on, the crowds did kind of get smaller. Due to other conventions trying to draw them away from this convention. So with 2015, it got bigger. I mean, it kept on driving enough foot traffic. For 2015, they did move to the Rosen over on International Drive. The regular Rosen, not the oh, I forgot to curl my lashes. Not the Shingle Creek where the NFB convention is going to be held again this year, but the Rosen Center, which is right across the street from the convention center, which is not a bad place. And RJ was able to join me for that one. And out by this point, Attack on Titan was still one of the top anime at this time, and They invited a lot of people this time from Attack on Titan, which included, of course, Matthew Mercer, but the main three, Trina Nishimura, who played Mikasa, gotta remember the pronunciation, Bryce Papenbrook, who played Eren Yeager, and Jesse James Greeley, aka Josh Greeley, which he did come out as trans, by the way, for anybody. Which their name is now Jesse James, so I'm getting the actual name for this part, who played Armin. And they got Lauren Londa, also Elizabeth Maxwell, David Wold, Jessica Calvello, Mike McFarland. So a lot of people for this one from Attack on Titan. And from year 2 of Omni Fandom Expo, our best video came from this year, which was the cast panel, which you can still watch in the panel's playlist. I can't speak today. And this was when we had an iPad Mini 2 that pretty much had 12 gigs of memory. But we also used my old digital camera at the time. Which was good enough for recording. I mean, we even used our buddy Kristen's Android phone. We also used RJ's phone and my phone at the time. So we pretty much were running on just phones and tablets at the time, before Kristen got a hold of his brother's video camera to use. And then now we have our own, so we could both use them. And we do use the newer digital camera just in case, you know. But still, this was the early days. But we still have pretty good interview shots and video shots. So yeah, you could still watch that video on the panels playlist. And we got to interview the main three, Lauren Londa and Mike McFarland, because of course I had to get the story, get the director in on this, because apparently there was a funny story that you know, I always love to ask this particular story. Oh, I should have put this in my top 3 funniest stories in the booth. But when I was asking Mike McFarland what was the funniest thing that ever happened in the booth, he's like, you should ask Bryce for that. I'm like, what? Just ask Bryce. Lauren even gave me the same answer as well. She's like, ask Bryce. I'm like, okay. And when we were interviewing Bryce, you could hear it in my voice in the interview. Okay, let me cut to the chase. What happened in the booth? We had to know. So apparently the story was, even though you should watch the video, I know I'm kind of doing it in as long story short type thing. So basically, Bryce and Mike decided to have lunch after recording for a bit, because Attack on Titan is not a walk in the park when it comes to recording, because there's a lot of stuff that takes place in this series. A lot of stuff. Even Trina Nishimura even explained in her interview where she's like not having it, and Mike just shown her videos of kitties and playing and everything to cheer her up. And I'm like, oh. But of course, so Bryce and him decided to go and have lunch at a popular place in town, which served big burgers and a huge stack of sweet potato fries, which, mind you, sweet potato fries are my favorite next to Red Robin's garlic fries. I love those things. Even though I ordered the garlic fries more often. But still, not only they had these big burgers, but they decided to split a large sweet potato fry. And they're not a regular large size that you get at a fast food restaurant. Oh no, it's a humongous stack. So they ate all of the fries that they could and went back and had to record. And Bryce had to do a screen take. Dun dun dun. What happened was he did not have enough air in his lungs to do the scream. So I would say go and watch that interview to get the full story, because it's best to hear him tell it. And I should put that as my top 3 funniest stories, next to Wally Wingert trying not to laugh because his co-star, who also played a tallest with him on Invader Zim, took a bite of a bagel and a napkin, because they had the napkin due to sanitary reasons. It's like flapping in his mouth. Oh man. Also, Chris Patton belching while doing a screen take during Rosafon after chugging a Red Bull. Those are my top 3 favorite stories I got with that. They answered that question. And also, this was also, I never thought I would also get corrected on pronunciating someone's last name, because I think this is my, yeah, it is my new concealer. I got it. It's like brands. Why are you doing similar packaging? But anyways, so Jesse, when I interviewed them, came in, very cool person, by the way. Also, they're around my age too, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, we're the same age. And they come in, and I introduced by saying Jesse James Grout. Jesse James Grout, but I hear Greeley. I'm like, huh? Excuse me? They said, Greeley. That's how you pronounce my name. I'm like, oh. I was not expecting that. But we did have a great interview. Very nice person. If you ever meet them, and tell them I say hi from Dirty Chic Universe, because I do appreciate their work on My Hero Academia a lot, and also in Kenichi, History's Mightiest Disciple, and so much other anime. Let's see, what foundation should I use today, people? But as the years went on, they did switch up the guests, and of course, they did have to go to other locations in Orlando. I haven't used the Urban Decay Tinted Moisturizer in forever. And they invited other people as well. And one big person that they've been inviting ever since until like the end of the convention was Paul St. Peter. Paul St. Peter is, well, at first back in 2016, we did not know who he played as until his panels, and we kind of felt bad that we didn't get to interview him, but we did interview him during 2017's convention. And it was like, and he is like one of the nicest guys that you'll ever meet, next to Richard Epcar, Neil Kaplan, which I was hoping to interview him, but pandemic happened back in 2019, was it? Actually, 2020. Yeah, I remember, because Tia Ballard was the last voice actress that we interviewed before the pandemic. And we got to meet awesome people like Brian Beacock. We got to interview him. Let's see. Got to interview RJ Hetty, who was one of the finalists for Face Off in season 2. Trust me, I had a lot of fun with that because I love special effects makeup. Let's see. We did interview Tia Ballard, Derek Stephen Prince. We also interviewed artist Sawa, who does a lot of music, and she wrote some of the songs for some of the openings for the anime Overlord. Good anime, by the way. And of course, we did interview Tia Ballard, like I said. I loved towards the end of that interview, she did do her happy voice because I love kitties. But one person that I had to kind of bring up, and he's amazing for what he does, is No Ordinary Balloon Man. And the reason why he's amazing is just that he is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. He's a guy that does balloon creations, and he is like a staple at Omni for ever since I was going there. And he's a guy who's on the autism spectrum, and I didn't know he was at Omni year 1 until he showed up at the end of the Attack on Titan cast, you know, with Kyle and Matt. Kyle Hayberry and Matt Mercer, by the way. And he came in as the Colossal Titan. And the year after, with, oh crap. You gotta watch the video. He did show up as well as one of the other Titans. And of course, Jessica Calvello fell in love with the creations that he done. And, well, the thing that did kind of brought up something is that, trying not to tear up during this, is that I never thought I would inspire somebody. And, well, during one of his panels, it was 2018. Yeah, it was 2018. This was months before I moved to Daytona. he had a panel where he told his story. The first creation that he had made was for a boy that's not only on the spectrum, but also visually impaired. And my feats kind of reminded him of that. And he told the story how he made a penguin. He also made that same penguin for me. I was crying in happiness, happy tears, because it was something that I was not expecting. And of course, being disabled, for some of you out there, is not what really defines you as a person. It's also even the motto in the National Federation of the Blind. Blindness does not define you as a person. And, well, it's basically who you are that makes you you. I mean, I'm someone who designs cosplays back in the day, despite not being able to see what I'm doing. Heck, I even wear makeup despite not being able to see myself in the mirror. But I know where to place it, though, because I practice a lot. But the great thing is, with everything I've done, it was beyond that what you expect as a visually impaired person, or even after meeting Bruce himself. It shows that he's able to be the person that he is. He's very talented. He does a lot of balloon creations. Yes, we have an interview with him here on YouTube. He did a lot of balloon creations and he also sings too. So put in a request if you ever meet him. I mean, he even, with Facebook, he posted how he, at TupeloCon, just broke a world record for the longest and biggest balloon creation / costume. He did Aku from Samurai Jack. And I'm like, whoa, when I saw that post. Even the funniest thing, it was 2018's Omni, when they had Josh Seth as a guest, and he did a balloon creation of Tai from Digimon, and he pretty much took it. He took it off the display because he's like, oh my god, you made my character mine, basically. Yeah, Josh Seth is very hilarious in person. So we didn't get to run into him much during Ranger Stop, but we did run into him when we only went to Ranger Stop back in 2022 for at least one day. And we told him what had happened with the flood, and he was like, whoa, dang, at least you guys got here at least for a day. I mean, yeah. I'm putting on an old Wet n Wild highlighter that I had for many, many years, and it's still pigmented. Dang. Still pigmented. Well, it is Wet n Wild. You can't fault them for that. But still. But, of course, the great convention did come to an end during 2021, apparently, because, during the pandemic, they were hoping to still hold the convention for the weekend during 2020, but they couldn't do it because of the CDC guidelines and, of course, lockdown and all that. And I was kind of sad because we were finally having a full-on team for this one. And unfortunately, we had to cancel the hotel and everything. And also did get name tags made for this one because, of course, I didn't have the funds to get the shirts made. So I was hoping us having like a plain polo in navy, because that's pretty much our color scheme, like blue, like a dark blue. And the old shirts did have the WordPress.com in the address. So I decided, why not just stick with plain t-shirts for a moment until getting the funds to get the everybody t-shirts. So I did name tags to still show that we are still serious. Please know that we are professionals in what we do, despite being fans in the industry. Because during Holiday Matsuri 2018, we weren't taken as seriously. I think most places didn't really take us that seriously in their eyes, but we worked hard to get to where we are today, and glad that we had the experiences that we had. But anyways, so with this with 2020, no Omni Expo, I even talked to the guy that heads it, and he was kind of disappointed too, but it doesn't mean that, of course, things could die down as time goes on. They'll try to have it during 2021, which they did, but we had the opportunity to go up to Atlanta, which was our very first out-of-state convention, and I apologize that we couldn't make it. We already had the time to go up there. There's always 2022, and the guy was completely understandable because, of course, at the time we were hoping to get more opportunities in other parts of the United States, whether it's in Atlanta, heck, even in Maryland for Otakon in the future, and a few other conventions. So Atlanta was a good springboard because I sent the press kit to the heads of press for Ranger Stop and Pop in Atlanta, and they said, we'll give you the press passes. This is amazing. It was Nakia Burries. It was Nakia Burries. And I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. Like, we impressed her with the work that we have done. And our stuff from Ranger Stop and Pop is still up here on YouTube, and you can still watch it. Please support our work. But, of course, the year after, with 2022, there was no Omni Fandom Expo, and I was kind of surprised that we there was no updates about the convention, not even on their Facebook, not even on their page either. And I think there was an announcement that they weren't going to have one in 2022 due to conflicts with scheduling and, well, scheduling for the location. And of course, one thing about having a convention is location. With how spread out Orlando is. Because a few years they were having it in the Florida Hotel and Convention Center, which is attached to the Florida Mall, which is a nice hotel, mind you. But apparently they were shrinking their space, basically, because of course they had that MLM convention on the second floor, which, oh boy, I'm so glad they had it in August at a different location, which was, I think it was the Sheraton close to Disney that they moved it to for 2021, which was supposed to be 2020 as well. But you already know the pandemic happened and lockdown happened as well. So things could not be held during 2021, which was kind of sad. And I'm kind of sad that there haven't been many updates about holding another year of Omni, since it was the main convention that said, hey, we like your work. Like the first convention that said it. I mean, without them, we would not have the experiences that we had after the years after. Even though 2015 was kind of a bit of a bust, but at least we weren't able to do press for AFO or Ranger Stop that year. At least I got to go as an attendee that year to experience it. But we did get Holiday Matsuri for that as well. But at least we got to do that for like 4 years. But hey, at least we got to go through our times with Omni Fandom Expo and got to meet a lot of awesome people during the convention. And getting to meet awesome voice actors, also an awesome guy that does balloon creations and so much more. I mean, without this convention, who knows where would we be? I mean, yes, they were small for who they were. And of course, they worked hard to try to get their crowds up, because they did shrink after, around 2016, because ConjureCon was trying to get their crowd by holding themselves during the same weekend. And I think there was another convention also going on, but I am not sure which one that one was. But at least we got to experience the years that we went and done press for them. And I am grateful for how long, well, not just how long they've been around, but grateful for the convention that they were. Yes, they were kind of small for who they were, but they were a convention that brought more to the community than just the usual MegaCon, MetroCon, and Tampa, by the way. of course, the usual AFO. They brought other guests that they either A, never been to Orlando for a convention, or B, have been invited to past conventions but have not been invited back. Like, for instance, I remembered, well, it was one guest that, Chris Patton. He hardly gets to come back to Orlando, and he loves Orlando. Carrie Savage rarely got to come back for a convention as well. Let's see. Of course, Josh Seth came back for Omni Fandom Expo, and he did come for a Ranger stop since he also voiced one of the alphas in Power Rangers. Paul St. Peter, he rarely gets to go to a convention down here in the South. He's an awesome guy. For some of those who don't know who he voices, he's Stingmon in all incarnations of Stingmon in Digimon Season 2 as a regular Stingmon, and the parts of Paildramon and Imperial Mon as well. Let's see. He's also Kurama and, of course, Leomon. I forgot that from Digimon. And like I said, Kurama from Naruto. So, yeah, that big booming voice, that's him. So, yeah. Getting to know some of these actors at this convention did show that they brought a lot to the community, and I wish we could have another year or so with these people, and they were amazing. They also gave us a good word for what we've done, despite us being so small. Of course, the smallest are the mightiest, by the way, because, yeah, I kind of miss them. I'm hoping they do come back. If not, rest in peace, Omni Fandom Expo. You were an awesome convention for who you were. And I was glad that we got to do press for you for most of the years. So if you guys want to watch all of our press coverage, it is available here. And also you can read our interviews from 2014's convention in the archives over on nerdygeekuniverse.com. So I'll be including the website link for that if you never checked out our blog part. So make sure you do. So until next time, who knows what's going to happen next here on YouTube. Stay beautiful.